Hello. So when I made my little video talking about my bath bombs, someone asked if I could give them a recipe. So Nez got you a recipe right here. Let's see if I can get the whole thing in the photo so you can take a screenshot right there. So I just decided to make a video because it'd probably be easier because there's a few things I would like to explain, I guess. So, baking soda is a must. You have to have that, obviously. You can skip the milk powders if you want to. It is optional. So, if you do skip the milk powder, just make up like that 0.3 ounces in something like your arrowroot powder or your baking soda. Maybe you just want to kind of keep the ratios the same. So if you take out milk powder, just add a little bit more arrowroot or cornstarch. So just trying to kind of keep the portions the same. The Slsa, which is sodium lauryl sulfate powder, it is a must. You have to have that. It is a natural product. It doesn't sound like it's a natural product, but it is. I think it's derived from coconut husk, but I don't remember. But that also is something that will irritate your lungs if you're breathing it. I mean, it's not severe, but it is something that you don't want airborne. So you want to keep it, you don't want to make it airborne. So you don't want to like poof it. You know what I'm saying? Keep your face away from it. It's real powdery. And let's see, you can skip the cocoa or mango or shea butter if you want to. And you don't have to substitute it with anything else. It's 1 gram. It's not going to hurt anything. Just add like a drop more of your oil because it is an oil basically. So you have to have 0.2 ounces. Now I usually do this in grams, but I just converted it to ounces maybe to make it a little easier. I'm thinking it might be easier, but you almost have to have a scale. I mean, to get these quantities anyway, you pretty much have to have a food scale. So apricot kernel oil is one of the best. You can use hemp seed oil, you can use almond oil, you can use olive oil if you want to, but you want a light oil, particularly. One of the cheaper ones to purchase would be almond. So go for almond oil or apricot kernel if you want the best. Okay, Polysorbate 80. You can do without it, but you will have an oil slick on top of your water. That's what that does. Polysorbate 80, it literally takes, I think it's 2.5 grams or 0.1 ounce. It's not much. And when it says 2.5 grams, I always go under. I always do like 1.5 grams. I take out a gram of it. It still works. It still works fine. I don't have any problems with it creating, an oil slick on top of the water. And when I say oil slick, I mean this has oils in it. So if you naturally did not have something like Polysorbate 80, all of the color or all of the oils would be on top of your water when you're in a bathtub. So that's kind of versus like throughout the whole column of water. So it is important. And if you are going to make this, you buy your Slsa and your Polysorbate 80. You can get it on Amazon. Get the smallest containers you can. If you're just doing it at home and you're not doing it for a business, get the smallest containers you can, or else you're going to end up with a lot and you'll be like, man, I shouldn't have got a whole pound of Slsa, because I'm like that. I bought it by the pound. I've made a ton of bath bombs and I can probably make a ton more with what I have. So yeah, get the smallest container you can of both. You also have to have 99% rubbing alcohol, as well as the 70% rubbing alcohol. And that's because you have to wet your mixture. but you want that wetness to evaporate. You don't want it to stay. So that's where the 99% rubbing alcohol comes in. It works to wet it, and then it dries up and goes away. Okay? If it's not 99% alcohol and it's the 70% alcohol you're adding, you will ruin your bath bombs, because that 70% means it's also 30% water. That 30% water will ruin your bath bombs and they won't work. Has to be 99% alcohol, which you can buy on Amazon as well. And don't buy it by the gallon. Buy it by a very small, like quart or whatever. You'll be better off. You won't have to hold on to like a whole gallon like I did. But I do use it quite often. Anyway, your fragrance oils or essential oils. And if you use essential oils, I'm not going to tell you what ratios to do, but don't put this much. Okay, essential oils are way stronger than fragrance oils as far as potency. So, yeah, that's kind of like if you do essential, there is a calculator called EcoCalc, which is essential oil calculators. And you can determine how much you need to add, or that's allowed to add. But if you just are doing it for yourself, add a couple drops until you get to where you think it smells right. Just don't overdo it, because it is essential oils, especially things like peppermint. Be careful. So, citric acid, it's critical. You can buy all of these things on Amazon. You can buy like a 5-pound bag of baking soda and citric acid, which is a good deal. And, you will use it all, because those are the two main ingredients. So there's your citric acid. And so what you do is you mix all of those ingredients. You mix all the dry ingredients first, okay? And you take your oils and your poly 80 and your alcohol and your fragrance, and you mix all that in a little container. Get it ready. While your dry stuff you get all that mixed up. Okay, you put it in a bowl, but you have to mix it before you start adding the wet stuff. You want it to be all incorporated first. Then you add your wet stuff to that dry ingredients minus the citric acid. At this point, citric acid is not involved, okay? You add that very, very last, or else you'll ruin your bath bomb, okay? So you get all those wet ingredients mixed with the dry ingredients, and then you're ready to add the citric acid. You put it back on the scale, or, get it measured out or whatever. Add your citric acid, then get all that mixed up. Once that's all mixed up, you take it, like you saw in that other video where I just kind of ball it up. And if it balls up and it stays in a ball, if it will stay stuck together and not want to crumble apart, then it's wet enough. Otherwise, if it's not wet enough, you have to take that spray bottle of rubbing alcohol, the 70%. Now, this is where you want the 70% in a spray bottle. At this point, if it's not wet enough, you spray like 3 or 4 sprays on top of it and mix it in. Then check the wetness, and you keep doing that until you get it to where it'll stick together. Do not over wet it, or it'll do this. Oh, what? It's glued itself back together. How the heck did that happen? So yesterday this was in 2 pieces. Unless it's this one. No. It was this one. It glued itself back together. So I got this is the coconut lime verbena. I got the green too wet. So this is like a purple and green. And there's green in there. And you can tell where the green is, because the green was too wet. And it started swelling up on the inside of here. You can see. So yeah, I almost messed this one up. But this one yesterday was in 2 different pieces, and it was wet enough, I guess it glued itself back together. Wow. I was thinking that was mine. Probably still be mine. Anyway, very important to do it in those steps. And very important to have all those ingredients that I mentioned. And then, you know, you can mold it. And you can mold it in anything. You don't have to mold it in bath bombs. You could literally buy some paper cups like this and stuff them in there. And then you have a cup-shaped, you know, whatever. It really doesn't matter what the container is that you put them in. Just as long as you don't have to be round. Like I even do these for samples when I have leftovers. So, yeah, it works good. This is a really, really good recipe, actually. It makes a really good bath bomb. Also, when you're packing your bath bomb, so you've got your, just say you've got the bath bomb things you make it with, the little cups. You put some of the material in it and you push it down. You really pack it in there, right? You pack it in against the metal. And then on the center part of it, because you still have to add more, you would take that, and you don't pack it as tight. You overfill it. You just put it in there and you kind of push it down, but you don't overpack it. That way you kind of have like a really tight pack on the outside, a little bit looser pack on the inside, and it wants to float. If you pack it so tight, it won't float. Sometimes these don't float anyway, but you're more likely to get a bath bomb that will float if you don't pack it super tight on the inside. It has to be packed tight, but it's not as tight as the outer crust of it, in other words. So, and you just kind of get the feel of it once you start making them, and you know, it works. And sometimes it don't work, but don't feel bad if it don't work. And if it don't work and you can't get it molded, guess what? You just end up with crumbles, and this works too. It still works. It doesn't matter if it's powder or not. It still works. It's just not going to last as long. You know, it's going to kind of fizz out fast in your bathtub, but you still get all the benefits from it and the scent and all that stuff. So if it fails, you still got a product that you can use. Even if it didn't turn out to be a bath bomb, it's still the bomb. I hope that helps. Peace.